You can't have an evangelistic ministry in Africa if you don't have a church. If you're an evangelist, you can't think of growth. To grow what? In the first place, you don't have a church. Yeah. You can be stationed in a village 25 years and you have 5 members. Why? Because you are a missionary. A missionary. But if you really want to have a church, if it doesn't grow, it can never be a church. Evangelist may not even see his fruits, but a pastor must see his fruits every week. A missionary may never even have a church in his life. So there are aspects of the ministry. I'm dealing with pastors, people who want to have churches. Pastor, what if I am a missionary? Certain aspects of the teaching may help you, like I spoke about honor, but you don't have a church. So I can't talk to you about how to plant a church and how to grow a church because you don't have a church. There are things you can't do. For instance, in Africa, you can't have an evangelistic ministry in Africa if you don't have a church. Yes. Pastor, why? Is it not the grace of God? The grace works in a context. There is no African who is an evangelist doing what real global evangelism means without a church. Poverty will kill it. If you talk about evangelists who touch the world, none of them is an African. Those who didn't have churches. Billy Graham is not an African. T.L. Osborne was not an African. Reinhard Bonnke was not an African. If you start crusades in Ghana and you do not have a church, your crusade ministry will die. I talk to a lot of young people, they don't listen. Who will finance it? Man of God, you do crusade. Is it easy? Is it cheap? You take 100,000 to do crusades, win 100 members, and you come home with an offering of 28 cedis. So that 100,000, where did you get it from? From the tithes and offerings of your church members. So if you really want to be an evangelist, global evangelist, you must have a church. In Africa here, nobody in Ghana can do what Bishop Dag is doing. Let's be humble. One of the reasons is because he has churches. How is he doing crusade as if he is doing cell meeting? 100,000 people gathering almost every week, as if money is water. I said he's doing crusades like cell meeting. It's money. He has it. So when he's preaching that give tithe, give offering, it's not because he wants to steal. It's because nobody can do what he's doing if the person is poor. What is he? Is he doing in the name of the Lord or is doing it in his name? Why can't we be humble that somebody is doing better than what we are supposed to be doing? Jesus said we should go to the whole world and win souls. Somebody is doing it, we are criticizing the person. Bishop Oyedepo said he planted 20,000 churches in 1 year. Did you hear it? 20,000 churches in COVID. I'm not saying 200. There is no church in Ghana with 20,000 branches. Church of Pentecost is approaching 10,000 or so. Methodists said they are not Ghanaian churches. We are talking about Ghanaian churches. There is no charismatic church that is 1/10 the size of Bishop Dag's church. None. Listen, I'm a student of the church. You have no idea the things I study. Most of the charismatic churches, if you go to America, you can't find 100 branches. Because Bishop Dag can show you over 300 churches in America. 300 thriving churches. How is he doing it? Because he's not poor. So a pastor can, if you are poor, you can't do some things. You can't. And why should a pastor not be rich? That's the question. Why should a pastor not be rich? Why should a church not be rich? Why? Because everything that the Lord has told us to do, we will need money to do it. And look at him. He doesn't live any extravagant life. He has not bought 25 Lamborghinis. He doesn't have a yacht. I think he needs a private jet. And you see, if we don't stop criticizing our fathers, they will not break that curse for us. There's no pastor in Ghana with a private jet. That means there is no busy Ghanaian pastor. Because private jet actually means you are a very busy person. You can't spend 6 hours at an airport. Yesterday we spent over 2 hours at the airport to come here because they canceled the flight. If you have private jet, nothing will be cancelled. If I have private jet, do you know that I can do an all-night in Accra today? It's very simple. I'll close at, let's say, 12 a.m., which I will not close at the time so that you don't get scared. Latest, 12:40. I'm in Accra. All night, I start preaching at 1 and I close at 5. Now that you don't have a private jet, which all the airlines have closed, sit in a car from Accra at 12. By the time you get there, they have closed the church. Everybody has gone home. So it means that there is activity, but there is no provision to fulfill the activity. So even though I could have been doing all night tonight, I have to go and sleep. Why? Not because strength is lacking, it's because resources are lacking. So one of our fathers has to buy a private jet. And when he does that, the power is released for the rest of the generation.